Go.
All right. Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us today on the 2024 Great Washington ShakeOut. My name is Alyssa Tapero. I am here in the policy room of the Washington Emergency Management Division building. I am the Tsunami Program Manager here at Washington EMD, so I focus on Washington's tsunami hazard and risk. Behind me, you can see the Washington Emergency Operations Center. We've got a class going on right now, and they will be drop, cover, and holding on in a few minutes at 10:17. Why? Because it is the Great Washington ShakeOut, and that is part of the Great ShakeOut, or a worldwide earthquake and tsunami drill that we all across the world practice every year on the third Thursday in October. And we do that so that we can be prepared for when the next big earthquake and or tsunami hits. That way we know what to do when it happens, so when the ground starts shaking or maybe we get an earthquake alert on our phones, we don't stop and go, oh my gosh, what's going on? What do I do? We have practice, we have that muscle memory, and we know to dive down, drop, cover, and hold on and protect ourselves during that shaking. So this is a great opportunity today on 1017 to think about where you might be when an earthquake strikes, what you need to do, and how you can be better prepared before that happens, when it happens, and after it happens. I'm going to turn it over to my coworker Riley so she can introduce herself and talk a little bit about what she does.
Yeah, so my name is Riley McNabb. I am the outreach coordinator with the Geohazards and Outreach team here at Washington Emergency Management Division. So I'm on the earthquake team and focus specifically on supporting unreinforced masonry efforts throughout the state. And so today on ShakeOut, it's a great opportunity to be thinking about what type of building do you live in? What is your home looking like? Do you have a preparedness kit? We have some information on how to put grab and go kits together, as well as a longer term 2-week ready kit. And we have information online. You could access information like this telling you what you can put in your kit, such as water, food, medication, items for your children, items for pets, and things like that. So today is a great opportunity to practice your earthquake safety and also just your general preparedness. So as Alyssa already mentioned, we have drop, cover, and hold on. There's also information where if you use a device such as a wheelchair, you can lock your wheels, cover, and hold on. And we have some more information about in different situations where you might be. So today is a great opportunity to think about if you were at work, if you were at school, if you were in your car, what would you do in the case of an earthquake?
What's an unreinforced masonry building? What is that, and how do you know if you're in one?
Yeah, an unreinforced masonry building is a type of building that uses bricks or other masonry materials that was built before about 1945 when building codes were updated. And so these are more susceptible to partial collapse and falling debris. And so in order to identify that, we have information online about survey efforts that are going around through the state. Some cities have pretty thorough inventories already. Like City of Seattle, they have a database that you can look up the addresses of certain buildings. And so if you are in an unreinforced masonry building, or you suspect that, you can contact the landlord if you're a renter, and if you are a renter in that way, maybe not able to make those structural retrofits, then you can also just think about what you can do to control the environment within the building, like structuring your apartment in a way that makes sense, keeping your bed free from heavy objects being above your head when you're asleep, securing tall, heavy objects like bookcases to the wall, and just thinking of where in your apartment you would want to be in an earthquake. If you were in bed, what would you do? If you were in your kitchen, where would you move to? And things like that.
Why do we talk about drop, cover, hold on? Why is that important?
It's important to practice these exercises because in the event of an earthquake, when emotions rise and you're startled and you're scared, you want to have these actions like muscle memory. You want to practice it so you know what to do, so you're not confused and startled on top of trying to think long-term ahead. So it's a good thing to practice so you have it muscle memory and you already know what to do. And it's good to practice in different situations, as you said, because we can't predict when these are going to happen. We know they will, and so it's just good to prepare for a variety of circumstances.
Alyssa, why don't you talk about the tests happening today?
I will, absolutely. So We have a lot of different alerts going out today for ShakeOut, the biggest of which is that all of our tsunami sirens will be going off at about 10:17 with the actual wailing sound. So if you are located on our outer coast or in the North Puget Sound and you are near enough to one of those sirens, you might hear them going off with that actual warning wail sound. It's a lot louder and longer than the monthly test, which uses the Westminster chime sound. So be aware of that. You might hear it. If you do, don't panic. Please don't call 911. They're supposed to be doing that. But it is a really good opportunity to then practice what you would do if you heard those sirens in any other situation, which would be to grab your go bag and head up your closest evacuation route to high ground. So that's a great opportunity. I think it's kind of cool to hear them making that sound, but it can be kind of scary. So it's good to just be aware that those sirens will be going off. Something else that you might hear, if you have a NOAA weather radio, you might hear that test go off as well. NOAA weather radios are one of the best way to get alerts, not just for tsunamis and natural hazards, but civil unrest, public safety, all kinds of alerts come through NOAA weather radio. And so that's something that we really recommend having in your house, in your garage, at your office, anywhere that you spend a lot of time, because you can get alerts through your cell phone, but those aren't always quite as reliable, or maybe your phone battery is dead, something like that. NOAA weather radios are a really great way to get alerts. They're pretty cheap. There are fancy expensive ones, but there are also kind of very simple, very cheap versions as well. So if you want to do one extra thing today to get more prepared for the hazards we have here in Washington, buying a NOAA weather radio is a really good option.
One person is expressing doubt that a table could help you, and they're worried about buildings falling down.
That's a really fair concern, and that's something we definitely see in some other countries when they have major earthquakes. The good thing here is that in Washington and in the United States in general, our building codes are robust enough that we don't, for the most part, have to worry about that pancaking effect that we sometimes see in other countries. And so when we talk about drop, cover, hold on, the reason we recommend that is that the injuries that we primarily see from earthquakes here in the United States is from people trying to move around during that ground shaking. Either they are injured because they step on something, broken glass, shattered wood, something like that, or they get hit by falling objects. When we talk about unreinforced masonry, that's a huge danger. We saw that a lot with the Nisqually earthquake in 2001. Whole, brick edifices coming crashing down onto cars on the sidewalk, that kind of thing. If you were trying to run out of a building during that earthquake, you could have been hit by, all of these bricks falling down. And so while a table may not seem as safe as getting out of a building completely, it's actually much more safe than trying to move during that ground shaking. Something else to keep in mind also is that ground shaking itself, if we're in a really big earthquake, if it's the big one, it's not easy to move around during that. The ground isn't necessarily where you think it's going to be. If you take a step and you step down, the ground could be much closer than you realize, or it could be farther away because those waves are moving the ground itself. So getting under a piece of furniture or against a wall that doesn't have any glass in it is still going to be the best thing to do here in the United States.
Anything else we want to say?
Gosh, please, at 10:17, if you've got a moment, take that time to practice drop, cover, and hold on. It seems simple, but the more you do it, the more it really is that muscle memory, and even saving just seconds of time when you otherwise might be going, oh my gosh, what's going on, really can make the difference between making sure that you are safe or potentially being injured during an earthquake.
Happy
Thank you so
ShakeOut.
much.